MS in Transportation, University of Moratuel, and he awarded the Best Enforcement Officer in the UDA in 2017. Now let me introduce our dear Madam, Planner Indu Suri, who is well known to all of us. Planner Indu Suri is a chartered town planner with 28 years of experience with the Urban Development Authority, where she attended the post Deputy Director General Planning. She joined UN Habitat in 2012, worked as the project manager, and has overseen the development of this unit and roll out the Resilient City program across the country. Mrs. Veerasuri is a fellow member and past president of Institute of Town Planners Sri Lanka. At present, she serves as a vice president West Asia of Commonwealth Association of Planners and works as a freelancer consultant. Mrs. Veerasuri has an MSc in Urban Development Planning from the University of London, and she received postgraduate diploma in Heritage Management and Urban Revitalization from the IHS in the Netherlands, and postgraduate diploma in Urban Development from University of Moratuel. So without any delay, I would hand over the session to Madam Indu Veerasuri. Over to you, Madam.
Ayubowan. Very good morning to everybody. I presume that you all are doing well in this critical time. Satya, thank you very much for your generous introduction. Dear President and the Council members, organizing committee, thank you very much for inviting me to moderate this session. Always pleasure to join with my town planning community and other professionals as well. And we strongly believe that. And the UDA plans, today our heading, the topic is Development Plan of Colombo. That is the approved development plan. And we strongly believe that UDA plans cover a number of fields, including optimum and effective and efficient use of land and managing the quality of its environment, enhance the quality of life of the people, and furthermore, it will provide the framework for investment to secure future investment need. Having said that, and without taking much time, I would like to invite Planner Lalit Wijeratne and the Deputy Director General Planning, Urban Development Authority, to do his presentation. And Mr. Wijeratne, Planner Wijeratne, over to you, and you have the 50 minutes for your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. First of all, I should thanks to Institute of Town Planners to giving me this opportunity to present the Colombo Development Plan. First of all, I will share this one. Yes. Good morning, everybody. Today, I'm going to present City of Colombo Development Plan 2022 to 2031. First of all, we'll see why we need a plan. The UDA requirement as per UDA Act. This is a legal requirement for Urban Development Authority. UD has adapted new approaches to preparing development plans. It's the second one. And we need to capture the complexities in the urbanized trends and patterns. And we have to find out new patterns and forecasting future requirements, as well as identify future development areas. Finally, we need allocate some funds from Treasury or UDO, some other institutions. We'll see who will interested for this kind of development plan or this kind of session. The professionals, mainly town planners, architects, real estate sector, engineers, surveyors, valuers, and so many professionals interested this sector. And policymakers in the country needs this kind of development plan. The politicians and bureaucrats are interested. Investors, developers, academics, researchers, entrepreneurs, business people, mostly interested on what happened in future. Therefore, a development plan is very important, especially Colombo development plan. Shall we move to who are the main stakeholder of this plan? The Colombo Municipal Council is the main stakeholder, and there are so many stakeholders on the screen, maybe more than 20. Road Development Authority, Central Environment Authority, Electricity Board. So we are the stakeholders. If I move to next slide, we will see what's our legal procedure or what's the CMC contribution to prepare this development plan. First of all, we discuss with all divisions of the municipal council on 2020. Actually, this task started from 2017 to 2020. We have taken 2-3 years to complete this one. This is massive work we can complete within 1 year. Then we have so many meetings. There's a workshop at Foundation Institute with participation of commissioner, all the members, and her worship of mayor. After completing this document, we have forwarded this draft plan to the municipal council, district secretaries, and so many other places for public review. Thereafter, we received the mayor's message and consent on 11th November 2021. And finally, we put forward into the main planning committee. Next, we'll see the legal procedure of the UDA. You can see the 10 steps. We have followed these methods for the preparation of development plan. The previously, up to 2000, we have followed some other method, but with help of Professor Jagat Munasinghe also involved so much to prepare this procedure. It's the background studies, scoping, problem and potential identification. On that stage, we are incorporating with the outsiders, especially all the stakeholders. We had so many stakeholder meetings with individually and with all of them. Thereafter, we make the vision, goals, and objectives, and data analysis is the next part. After making the strategy development, we made the zoning and regulations. After preparation of development plan, again we put forward these comments to the public and professionals. Thereafter, the final draft forward into the main planning committee. In that committee represent Town Planning Institute, Institute of Engineers, surveys, and so many other field experts are participating to main planning committee. They all gave us the consent for this plan, and finally we forward this approval to the Board of Management, then finally to the Minister to gazetting the plan. That was the legal background. We'll see what we are going today, the limitations of this program. On the left-hand side, the plan is step, what I explained, the 10 steps are there. Then in middle one, the chapter breakdown of the development plan. I think many of you, sometimes all of you have read that document. It's available everywhere. And third one, the right side shows the today program. The first of all, I will explain an introduction. The second part is the proposed action plans through our development strategies. Finally, we will explain the zoning factor and zoning regulations. That's the limitation of today's presentation. With the scope of this plan, basically when we prepare a development plan, the government wants to explain their desire that is coming through the government manifesto in 2020. According to that manifesto, they have indicated 3 points: people-centric development, technology-based society, sustainable management. That is the first part we have taken to prepare this plan. The second one is the city scale. Colombo to be developed as a commercial city. This is a commercial city and biggest city in Sri Lanka and one of the competitive cities in the world. The third factor we considered the scope in terms of different fields. We have considered the environmental management, economic infrastructure, settlement and social development. The fourth one is the time period. Normally in Sri Lanka, we prepare a development plan for 10-year period. Finally, all these are coming through the planning guideline, policies, strategic plans, public-private joint ventures, planning and building regulations and zoning regulation. This is the total scope of this plan. Let's go the demography of the Colombo. Everybody knows these details, but I mentioned these areas to remember all these things. The Colombo Municipal Council established in 1865 and declared into the UDA in 1978. The land size is there, the residential population, the commuting population per day, the population density, housing density, you can see. There are 2 divisional secretariats are there and 35 GN divisions, Graminindari divisions, and 44 wards are there. Before starting, we have to consider about what has happened in the history or previous plans. The first one, we considered the pre-colonial period. There are 3 countries invaded Sri Lanka. At that time, they have some contribution for urban development. During the Portuguese period, they have made some plans, then Dutch period, then early British period, and late British period. We can divide into 4 eras. Especially in 1921, the Patrick Geddes make a plan called the Garden City of the East. I'm not going to explain one by one because of the time limitation. I want to explain our plan. This is a background history I want to just mention. The next one is a Patrick Abercrombie's plan in 1948. After the independence, with Sri Lankan experts and planners, with the help of the United Nations Development Program, prepared a plan. You can see the first development plan for the Colombo city prepared in 1985. The importance of that plan is there is a complete zoning plan came through that plan, especially minimize the traffic, efficiency of trade, eradication of slums, and so many sites are discussed within that plan. Thereafter, CMRSP plan introduced in 1998, it was not a development plan, it's a structure plan that the blue color ones have not gazetted, but orange color ones gazetted under the UDA law. Thereafter, the completed development plan came in 1999. At that time, we were also in the UDA, renowned fellow planner, Mrs. Sriyani Jayasundra, lead that plan at that time. This was one of the best plans at that time. Within 2004, at that time, present President Ranil Wickremesinghe came into the power as a Prime Minister, and he introduced with the Singaporean planners the Megapolis Plan 2004. Anyway, because of that political unstable, they were defeated in 2005, and that plan did not come into the work. After that, City of Colombo Plan 2008 gazetted with some amendment of 1999 plan. In 2016, Western Province Megapolis Plan came into the scene, but it was not gazetted. That one also only a structure plan. Anyway, in 2018, again republished the 1999, 2008 amendment and some of regulations, including zoning changes, additional car parking floors, etc. We'll see what are the national plans have introduced within the past period. The first one started in 2007 and gazetted in 2011. You can see the left side this plan. The special thing is there's a central fragile area introduced from this plan, and northern area, north central and eastern development, southern and western cities development have been introduced. Anyway, after some political changes, again national physical plan came into the scene. Started to prepare in 2017 and gazetted in 2019. That was famous Colombo to Trinco corridor was introduced, as well as there's a southern corridor and some eastern side corridor and northern corridor was introduced. Unfortunately, again, new plan introduced. The National Physical Planning Department wants to revisit that plan in 2020. They have introduced this plan. This is still underway, but I don't know within next few years another National geographical plan will come into the scene. And we have considered national health policy, national environment policy, and national housing policy also to prepare this plan. We'll see the international linkages. This is a very popular map. I think everybody has seen this one. We have so much international linkage. Previously, we heard about the relative advantages and absolute advantage from this location. There are so many naval and aviation opportunities from this location if we can catch these advantages. And you can see the expressway networks in Sri Lanka. We have 4 expressways, Katunayaka, Southern, Central, and Circular Road. All roads are concentrated into the Colombo. And some regional linkages, you can see Colombo being the economic hub of the country, and country's domestic air transportation network has been developed to facilitate the economic activity as well as the railway linkages also there. And the local linkages, there are 7 corridors approaching the Colombo. And physical sector, we can see the transportation, the water supply, the electricity supply, and sewer facilities. If I say something about this one, at present, 6% of public vehicles and 94% are using private vehicles. This is a big problem. I will explain in later slides. The main water source, the 351,000 cubic meters are consuming per day, as well as 1,523 gigawatts hours using per annum. In Colombo city, 66% of the population have these facilities, and 15% of the population don't have any means of storage facility. Sorry, there's a. The next one, see the land use in Colombo. If we can go to year 2000 and compare with 2018, we can see the slight differences. The land cover in institutional, industrial, education, and some others are not changed. We can't see big differences, but especially we can see the commercial uses has increased and residential uses are decreased, especially northern area of the city. And based on the Colombo area, the commercial development has increased. The economic sector, within this period, there are massive development in real estate market, the boost in retail market in the Colombo. The high-rise apartment came into the scene. Large number of approvals have given by us. The many of them are already constructed, and some of them are under construction. The tourism was growing massive level. I'm talking about the situation when we prepared in the development plan. Think about 2017 to 2020 period, that economic crises are not explaining this development plan it has happened suddenly within 2022. And there's a big demand for office spaces comparatively with other cities like the Hong Kong, Macau, or Dubai. Prices are very high, but comparatively the Colombo price is very low for the office space. The land values you can see around 16 million to 20 million in the highest price in Kolpiti, Bambalapiti, or Colombo 7. The population forecasting is there. And the public flows through 4 corridors, 1.75 million, and rest of are coming. It would be 0.3 million population. On the right side, you can see the population population density changes in Colombo region. The weekend different between the weekends and weekdays, you can see the different time period. As well as the male population is 49.8 and female population is 50.1. The working population, the workforce is 63% in Colombo area. The next one is the social sector, the education and health sector. For education purpose, 511,000 pupils are coming to Colombo. The health sector, the administration and retail and for commercial services are mainly established in Colombo. Thousands of people coming to Colombo to get all these services, as well as some recreational and entertainment activities are there. Public open space, international and national stadiums, international conference halls, education and exhibition centers are there. The many people move into Colombo daily to get these services. Finally, the environmental sector, you can see the availability of natural resources, some water bodies, wetland. The nice locations are located in Colombo. The availability of a variety of water bodies. We have 15-kilometer long seafront, the 4.8 kilometer long the Kalini River, some canals, and Bere Lake also there. This is a tropical country climate. Average temperature is 27. Average annual rainfall is 2,348 millimeters. This is the functional boundaries. We can see we have to check the delineation of the area when we prepare a development plan. Actually, we have taken the same administrative boundary to consider this development plan. Anyway, we have considered about the outside cities, the Jayawardhanapura Kotte, Dehuala Mount Lavinia, the Colonna municipal council areas are adjoining to this area, especially northern side. You can see the same development pressure. The same development pressure is there parallel to the Colombo and other areas. The environmental sensitivity, you can see the second picture, as well as land values. Especially the land values are concentrated into the Colombo Port, Kolpiti and Bambalapiti and Colombo 7 area. The northern area land prices are little below to compare the other areas because high density, low infrastructure facilities, and road widths are not comfortable. And after considering of the existing situation, we have identified some problems. We identified 5 problematic areas from this plan: the changing development trends, and so on. I will explain one by one. The change in development trends because of the rapid high dense and high rise development trends, regardless the availability of supporting infrastructure. There's so many low income housing are located in marginal lands. We have to change this trend. The previous plans and regulation was determined based on urban land use style. This time we have introduced the density based zoning. The previously considered only the land use. At that time, that type is correct. After 20 years, we think the thinking pattern should be changed to density based. You can see the issues arise because of this changing of development trends. Inadequate sewer and wastewater management system, deficiencies in local area supply of pipe-borne water and electricity, the existing road of the Colombo commercial city not having adequate capacity to meet the requirement of high-rise development. The second one, problem due to the distribution of underserved settlements. It arises some negative impacts, negative environmental impacts, and negative economic impact. The poor living condition and high probability of spreading diseases because of the high density. Some illegal activities are happening within these zones. The pollution of water bodies linked with underserved settlements, always spreading some diseases within the rainy time, and some significant drop in land value in underserved settlement associated with this area. Nobody likes to get lands within these areas. Next one is a problem due to traffic congestion on main arteries. Everybody feel this problem in every day. Because of this traffic, so much financial losses, wastage of fuel and productivity. If we calculate this one, would be 40 billion rupees annually. It will be cost 1.5 of the annual GDP. The negative environmental effects are there. The air quality, noise pollution, emission from more vehicles contribute to over 60% of total emission in Colombo. Finally, the negative social effects are coming out. Some state frustration caused due to slow moving of the vehicle. Think about from Peta to Kaduele. It will take 2 hours to travel. Because of this, the risk of disasters due to air pollution. There's so much air pollution happening in Sri Lanka compared to other cities of the world. We are in bad situation. The next one is the lack of user convenience due to environmental issues. The urban floods, polluted water bodies, heat island effects. Sometimes you can't see this effect, but you feel this effect. The heat island effect is so much you can see that picture. Especially the highest heat effect are recorded in northern Colombo, including the area Blue Mandal, Dematagata, Kotahena area. The polluted water bodies, always the people putting their waste and sewer into the canals. It will be a big problem. You can see that picture. This is the polluted water. Not only problems, there are some potentials are there. We found 3 potentials within the Colombo municipal area. There are some economic potentials, some environmental potential, and ongoing and proposed project potential for the Colombo. See the economics potential, the tourism, the good amount of people came into the Colombo within last couple of years. With those things, the real estate market has gone up. The retail trade and sole trade were good. The distribution and transportation, the supply and housing construction from the government and private sector were in high rate. The environmentally, we have 15 kilometer sea beach, 53 kilometer canal, 0.78 square kilometer Bear Lake. That's a very nice, beautiful one. And 4.2 long Kalani River. We still not proper use of this Kalani River. The third one is ongoing and proposed mega projects. Elevated highways. Coming from Igurkade Junction, the Kalini Bridge to up to Aturugiri interchange. The second one is port access road and electrified railroads from Colombo, Nugegoda, Kottawa, Paduka to Avisavela, the first stage. The port expansion project, there are 3 projects, the eastern and western and northern area will be developed. The port city came to adjoin into the Gold Face area. The Bear Lake surrounding development, Marine City development project will be coming within next few years. And some housing projects with collaborate with Sri Lanka government and Tata, Imperial Builders, some of private sector, Cinnamon hotel chain came, and all army headquarters area developed by Shangri-La. These are the massive projects. This is the end of the existing situation. With considering all these facts, the problems, potentials, and everything, the UDA planning team decides, they show the vision for the Colombo. That is the Aquarina, the city in water. Colombo to be experienced as a smart, vibrant, tropical water garden city of the South Asia. To achieve this vision, we have prepared 3 goals. The 3 goals are the most sought waterfront business environment experience in the world. The second one is the revived international renowned green city of South Asia. The third one is the smart, smooth, and sense urban space for inhabitants. If I tell this one simply, the vision is urban space with green and blue. I will explain one by one now. The first goal I will explain through 3 objectives. The objectives within that next 10-year period, what we are expecting. We are expecting to open up 80% of various water and wetland fronts. We think we can open up wetland front 80% of existing lowlands. The second objective is to release 1,200 hectares of land in waterfronts. Simply, if you open 80% of wetland front, automatically 1,200 hectares of land will be released. The third one is to strengthen the continuous network of water bodies and wetlands. The second objective, the green garden city of South Asia. To achieve this goal, we have set 4 objectives. The first one is to create a network of park and green spaces of 120 hectares linked with water and wetland networks in Colombo. The second one, to ensure that every citizen of Colombo commercial city has access public open space within 500 meters. Third one, to have an average of 35% green cover and an enhanced green experience in Colombo city by 2030. The fourth one is the assure green development in Colombo commercial city. These are 4 objectives for green garden city of South Asia. The third and final objective goal is the smart, smooth and sense urban space for all inhabitants. To achieve this goal, we have set 3 objectives. First one is to have an integrated, multimodal, reliable, affordable and comfortable public transport system while reducing the traffic congestion by 25%. With this comfortable traffic system, we are expecting to reducing traffic congestion 25%. The second one is to provide wider coverage of infrastructure facilities for all citizens, to increase all the utilities. We are expecting wider coverage of infrastructure facilities. The third one is to introduce density-based zone development zones on development. This is the most important and most new thing for introducing from this development plan is the density-based development zone. When we doing some studies, we are doing SWOT analysis. We have done this SWOT analysis to obtain that vision. That's the visionary SWOT analysis. We are expecting to achieve that vision through 3 goals. For achieving these things, we have done SWOT analysis. You can see left side is strength and opportunities. The right side, you can see weakness and threats. I'm not going to explain one by one. It will take so much time, and I'm thinking that's not so much interested on this topic. The next one is the concept. To achieve that vision and goal, on our head, the planner's mind said like this. We are thinking this kind of Colombo should come. On this sketch, you can see some roads and nodes. The promotion of waterfront development and green coverage center with well-integrated transport network is the first item. The second one is development of specific clusters based on its potential, future demanding activities, and characters. You can see the historical city. We are going to develop the historical city, the Basa area, the Bear Lake development, the coastal belt and recreational area, the low density gardens zone, the canal bank investment corridor, you can see there, and Kelin River investment corridor. And not only these, we have several others, the hospital square, judicial square, and so on. To achieve these, we have prepared 7 development strategies. We'll see what are these strategies. The first one is transport development strategy. The next one is urban settlement strategy. Third one, economic development. Fourth one, sustainable environmental strategy. Next one is utility management strategy. The sixth one is the historical, archaeological, and cultural places conservation and promotional strategy. The final one and most important one is the spatial development strategies. Throughout these 7 strategies, we are hoping to achieve our vision in 2031. The first one is the transport development strategy. There is a planning background there. First of all, we'll see what are the objectives. We need to increase the efficiency of the road and road transport system. The second one is the distribution and integration of different type of transport mode. The third one is introduce suitable multimodal transport hubs and networks and parking places. The fourth one is identification of transport nodes considering the spatial distribution. The final one is urban models, population density, building density, and urban characteristics will be determined factors for future decisions. To achieve this objective, we have a scope. The construction and development of expressways, highways, rail and light rail developments, waterways, and water transports. Next one is the Colombo will be a world-class commercial hub and tourism destination. We can be a tourism destination, world-class city, if we achieve these transport developments. The project proposal to get realized this transport strategy, we are proposing to develop 20 road expansions within the Colombo city and 4 new roads going to be constructed. And always we are putting the building lines of the development plans, the widening that building lines, street lines, constructing of these 20 roads and construction of 4 roads are first proposal. Then we are proposing water transportation from some stations to other places, from Diatha to Vellavatta within the Bay Area. We already have started these projects as pilot projects. Some elevated road have already proposed, from Colombo, within Colombo area, and 3 overhead bridges. You can see now these are underway. Uttarananda Mawata, Justika Akbar Mawata, and Baladaksha Mawata. And we have proposed the new light railway system. There are 4 lines. You can see the red line, purple line, green line, and blue line. As well as we have proposed the construction of high-rise parking. There are 9 projects will come, and already 4 projects are started. Olkat Mawata, Narayambita, Gold Center, and Town Hall. The few floors are parking. The other floors may be residential or whatever development. And we have developed 2 TODs. The Borel and PETA, we already have identified. We had a design completion we have made for Borel TOD. Then already the plan has completed to the PETA TOD. These are the transport proposal for next 10 years. As the road density in Colombo city is at the international level, instead of further road widening, alternative to mode of public transport should be found. That is our conclusion. The second one is create a smart transportation system and establish real-time monitoring system, passenger information system, and automated vehicle location should be introduced. We can't go with the traditional system. We should adapt new system to the Colombo transport system as well as other sectors. The next strategy, the urban settlement strategy. Under this one, we have few objectives. The comply with the UNDP Sustainable Environment Goal number 11, we have made many proposals. The supply housing for forecasting people who are living in slum and shanties, semi-permanent, temporary with services, infrastructure, commuters, rental housings are proposed. And we are proposing to provide a better living environment for every people. The underserved people need a good address, good environment, infrastructure facilities, individual water, individual electricity, like that. They will have a good community and they will have good leisure facilities. The scope of this urban settlement strategy, we hope to promote special housing development projects undertaken by the UDA. We are doing direct projects as well as some partnerships, promote private sectors. We are always welcome foreign direct investment as well as NHDA, National Housing Development Authority, doing some housing projects, and USD also doing some projects with the UDA. And the second one is identification of existing settlement to upgrade. In Colombo, we have seen so many identical locations. With the help of the UDA, they will upgrade. The third one is residential promotional areas have been identified. And fourth one, minimize the change of use activities. Think about within the Colombo Savano, some special areas, there are peaceful, calm and quiet residential areas, but some people wants to convert this one into the commercial one. Anyway, there is a way to change this one as a change of use, but in future, we will make many restrictions for this change of use, not to change the character of the specific areas. Under this one, we have proposed density-based zoning and building regulation. That means in according to the available facilities, we will give high-rise development for the low-income people. Then we can keep the rest of land for the other urban development activities. The residential promotional clusters is our another strategy. The proposals are changing garden house to low-rise residential development and clusters, identify for high-rise building for low-income communities and clusters, houses to luxury, identifies middle and high-income housing ranging for gardens. These are the proposals. Apart from that, some housing development, regeneration and redesign projects are introduced by UDA, Urban Regeneration Project, Colombo Urban Regeneration Main Project, and some housing project for employees. This is something impressive within last period. The housing for middle level public and private sector employees. So already started to construct this house, Kottava, Burlestone, Malabe, or Godavat areas. And another sector is expecting to giving rental housing for middle level public and private sector employees. This would be something standard housing from Pulasevanamatta, Paliyagota housing scheme, etc. If you go for middle and upper income level projects, UD have introduced many projects. Some redevelopment housing projects also introduced. You can see the Navamavata, Vauxhall Street, and Hadbodiyavatta. UDA special teams are studying within these areas. The people will get the free housing, and UDA will release part of this land for commercial purpose. I think I have less time to explain this one. Then I'll try to finish this one within the time. Anyway, the economic development strategy is the next one. The Colombo International Economic Center, the Colombo International Economic Center, and it will be a hub of the tourism industry. You can see this kind of development have come into the Colombo. The scope of this one, the management of financial mechanism and market investment opportunities are going to be open within the Colombo. The port-related developments, the real estate developments, IT, trade, tourism, and financial sectors will be open for the investors. And strong regional economic development, new township projects, the mixed development projects, physical development for strengthen small and medium scale investors are welcome for the Colombo. The projects, existing project would be the port expansion projects is happening today. and some port-related services also development within the Blue Mandal area. The increase in the cargo handling, some improving port operations would be increased within next 10 years. The port city has come into the Colombo. The Bear Lake, we have introduced the Bear Lake development. Actually, we have introduced that Bear Lake development as a competitor to the port city. The port city development not coming under us. That is not a UDA declared area. This is a separate special financial area. But we have a Bear Lake area. We will compete with that port city area. In addition, the marine city development project we have proposed from Kolapiti to Vellavatta, 6.2 long beach development have been introduced. The next strategy is sustainable environmental strategy. The planning objectives are consisted of network of wetland, canals, and associated with micro hydraulical systems. The scope of this one is having interconnected with the green and blue space and maximize the use of these areas for the people. The project proposals are environmental conservation plan, activity maintaining in the waterfronts, improve and purify the water sources, and famous PORS plan has been introduced. With this plan, we can release more than 200 acres for the we can release 200 hectares land for the purpose of leisure and environmental protection. Through this one, if we open more space, we can temperature control strategy. The control building heights and wind directions, the interconnected open spaces, airflow determination corridors, green cover roofs, low light green covers, green parking are introduced to reduce the heat island effects and reduce the unnecessary increasement of the temperature. And disaster mitigation plan have been introduced to mitigate immediate and emergency flood control. The next one is the utility service management strategy. The planning objectives are provide social and physical infrastructure facilities for inhabitants and commuters within city, guarantee soft flow of social, economic, and political functions in the city, and networking all utility service in the city. We are expecting to give all these facility as a network. The scope of this one is a utility service management has adapted to integrate approach to ensure the sustainable resource use, resource conservation, and equitable infrastructure. This proposal would be short-term and long-term. You can see the electricity water can supply within the next 10 years without any problem. The sewerage wastage is one of the big problem, but within one of our project will provide 8 hectares from a marine city project within next few years. Even the Colombo wastewater project is ongoing, 838,000 population and 200 million liters of water production, waste water production are forecast to be pumping stations wastewater lines and main storage station are developed. We can solve this problem using these two proposals. They enhance the quantity and quality of solid waste management. You can see we have developed some proposals. In addition, there's a health square we have introduced, and new 2 townships and some education hubs are introduced in Narahimpita and Borella. You can see the cemetery, many number of cemeteries we are going to develop, some sanitary facilities, and also judicial square also develop under development guide plan. This is the final and last, this is the historical archaeological places conservation and promotional strategy. With that one, our objectives are a conservation plan is expected to be prepare a sustainable development plan, and direct and indirect returns of economic, social, environmental, and cultural developments are our objectives. To achieve this one, we have made scope. Our scope is attract local and international tourists, economic development, enhance social and cultural values, and continue proper maintenance and management of these buildings. We have big list. You can see the right side pictures. We have identified about 300 locations as historic buildings. The proposals are identify the heritage city as fort area is the first one. The renovation of listed buildings falling within the identified heritage trail, cultural work, establish the tourism information center, museum and exhibition places, cultural and leisure places are identified as projects. There are some Nawam Perahera. We are expecting to develop mosque, churches, and Kovil-based cultural functions within next 10 years. And this is the final and most important strategy, the spatial development strategy. This is the main strategy of the development plan, and this is the strategically facilitate all other strategies. The purpose is to establish a regular land use pattern by managing urban sprawl and development directions. The identify density-based zoning and promote appropriate land uses. The regulate population distribution and development density. And proposed and ongoing large-scale projects are also based on this strategy. This is the introduction of this spatial development strategy. The planning objectives are the finest suitable land use structures, density pattern, and leading users. The second one is mitigate unfavorable environmental and social effects. Became an international competitive prime commercial hub. The next planning objective is maintaining an appropriate city skyline and maintain a unique urban image. The final one is to create livable urban environment. To achieve this one, our scope is population projection and distribution is the first one. I will explain. We have calculated the projected population for 2030. As we don't have reliable data, it's very difficult to determine the population in 2030. Anyway, we have projected like this. It would be a natural growth, and we have calculated the estimate population would be 634,000 within the Colombo, and community population.
Sorry, Mr. Planalali, if you can expedite, because the time is now 1 hour is over.
Yeah,
Therefore,
I will get only 5 minutes. This is the last one. And second one is the identification of density-based development plan. This will be detailedly explained by the planner Yasantha. The expected development density and population we have calculated and put into the high, medium, and low level. Based on these studies, this is not time to explain all these things. The third one is the junction hierarchy. This is very important. We have 3 levels of junctions. The theta is the prime one. Secondary levels are Kollupitiya, Bambalipitiya, Vellavatta, and third order Mattakkuliya, Narahampita junctions. The development of these junctions are very essential to distribute the population within the city. The fourth one is the vertical space regulation and urban landmark conservation. The urban landmark structures have a direct impact on increasing the city identity and aesthetic value, as well as enhance the visual quality of the, bring out the uniqueness of the features are essential. The fifth one is expected urban models. You can see in 2031, the city would be like this. Maybe in the Fort area and Port City area, there may be high-rise buildings. Within the Colombo 7 area, you can see the low density. Within the beach side from Bambalipitiya to Vellavatta, there may be a middle rise of buildings are there, but we should get a wind from the seaside to the inside of the city to reduce the heat island effects. Therefore, we have considered about, we have put some windows to enter the winds inside of the city. These are some models we have expected. The sixth one is the development guide plans. We have made several guide plans already, gazetted 2 plans, the Bere Lake guide plans and Colombo 7 SPRZ one, and expecting to gazette many more development guide plans within next 2 years, especially in heritage area, bazaar area, hospital area, transport hub area. These are the 7 strategies what we are going to develop within next 10 years. And the way forward to this one is why we need the development zones and regulations to achieve vision, goal, and objectives, to achieve expected development, its changes, and to achieve the objective of the land use plan. With using these 7 strategies, we are developing Colombo within next 10 years to achieve these objectives. Zoning is a planning tool that can be used to manage mean the control and promote that land use activities. The density-based zoning, the main difference of this development plan in 2021 and the previous one are density-based zoning. The density-based zoning is a planning tool that can be used to manage the land use activity plus development intensity. You can get all idea from next lecture. Finally, what I'm going to say, we have different development plans. First one published in 1985, then 1999, then 2008 and 2022. There are big differences between all these development plans. It affects the time, reason, the technology, and everything has development within this period. We should not compare to 1999 one and 2022 because within the war period, those plans were prepared. Now we don't have a war, but we have different kind of war has come even after complete this development plan. We have not considered when prepare this plan, what happened for a pandemic, what happened for economic crisis, and sometimes maybe another problem will come within next few years. Then when we are going to prepare next plan in 2030, we have to consider all these factors also. Now I am running to the development zones. We have 9 development zones introduced by this development plan. You can see the development zone plan, and the special thing is in this time we have introduced sub-zone for each zone, and zoning factor has come for as a new thing, and the permissible uses also describe very nicely comparatively last development plans. These 3 will explain by next speaker. Then thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Planner Lalit Vijayaratne, Deputy Director General Planning. As Satya explained, and we all have today here to familiar with and get a sound knowledge regarding the approved development plan of Colombo. According to the organizers, under this CPD was designed to raise the awareness for our members, practitioners, and the other professionals. Mr. Lalit, and your presentation is very, very informative, and you gave the proper overview and the very comprehensive analysis. But this through comprehensive analysis, and our members and the audience, they are waiting to get some kind of clarification from you. Therefore, and now I thought to change the agenda a little bit, and without raising that question from you, I'll invite audience to send their questions to the chat box, and throughout the session, and chat box is open. Therefore, I'll thought, because your last slide, you mentioned that, and the zoning factor is a new tool. Therefore, and we'll just get the more detail about it. At the same time, and I know most of the practitioners, as well as the members of our institute, they have some kind of gray areas and some kind of problematic areas. Therefore, I would like to invite Planner Yasanta, because Yasanta, I know that you have the enough experience of applying this one. Already you are working in the CMC and other places. Therefore, I request you to adhere to your time. Then I can ask some kind of clarification from you when you finish the one. Over to you, Yasanta, because especially pay your attention to give some kind of the case studies and the example to understand the zoning factor. Thank you, Yasanta. Floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, madam. And am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, again, thank you very much for inviting us for today's presentation. And with the time constraints, I will present a little bit quickly. And today my task is to introduce the applicability of the zone factor. Here, I will explain what is the rationale behind the proposed zone factor. And this is not directly relevant to the CNC area, but for the area which is practiced the 1986 regulations, because that CMC area and the other core areas had a comprehensive set of regulation with the C forms to practice the FAR-based zone system. But this proposed zone factor is proposed to practice for all UD declared areas. That's why it is applicable even for a CMC area. And also it can be considered as the further extension of the FAR system with the technical justifications. Okay, then there are three main issues can be explained at present. Is that yes, we can identify that the gaps between the plan and the regulations, because if you take two examples, two zones, residential and commercial, and two lands with similar characters having the similar land extent and the frontage and the similar access, the the permissible flow area for the both lands are same. It doesn't matter where it is located. That's the gap between the plan and the regulation, because under the plan we have identified that those areas should be more densify and these areas may be a low densify, but it does work with the common FAR system, so that we can say that's the gaps between the zoning and the FAR. Then again, the let's connection with the potential and constraints. The existing FAR system prepared based on the some justifications, but it not directly based on the capacity of the natural infrastructure network and sensitivity of the environment, because we can zone the area based on the environment and the, based on the carrying capacity and the level of services. But when there is no connection between the zone and the FAR doesn't match with the zoning plan. It means that the objective of the zoning plan, the sensitivity of the environment and the carrying capacity of the infrastructure networks like that. And the third one is the less flexibility to accommodate the developer's request, because if we take the 1986 regulation, the allowable FAR for even for a high-rise development, it is a 2.75, and there are no variation for the FAR. Okay, that's why we thought to introduce new system to overcome these issues, and this is the new proposal that we have used. There's the density zoning, and we know that the zoning is a plan, as Larissa said, that the zoning is a planning code that can be used to control or promote the land use activities, and the same as the density zoning is the zoning ordinance and regulation that control or promote the development by land use intensity. The difference is the land use intensity. If we
Sorry, Yasanta Pereira, because your voice is not clear. And the can you just
okay, let me check, madam.
yes, please. Because this session is very, very important regarding the density factor.
Is it clear now?
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Sorry for the disturbance. And then to implement the density zone approach, we have to identify the indicator or measurement to implement the density zone approach. And then it was the zone factor we proposed with our teams, and the amount of the development expected in the given area of lands depends on the zone factor. And the zone factor can be defined as it is the ratio between the two parameters, that is the expected flow area from the development plan and also the available developable land area. Okay. Then zone factor guides the extent of the development that can that an area can hold based on the envisioned urban form, that is the expectation of the development plan, and also the environment and cultural sensitivity of the area, and also the infrastructure availability like access roads, water supply, and other such services, and also especially the carrying capacity in terms of the geographic conditions. Okay, then let's see. Let's see how to determine the zone factor. As I already said, it is a ratio between the two factors. Then under the step 1, I will explain how to calculate the total expected flow area. It is counted based on the 4 steps that flow area that person is a flow area like to be generated in the envisioned developments as per the goal and objective of the plan. The expected flow area can be considered, and also the flow area accommodated with the limit for the developments determined by the analyzing the sensitivity, potential, and the carrying capacity analysis, and that flow area also considered. And third one is the flow area demanded by the future residential and commuter and the commercial flow spaces, and that also considered. And finally, the total expected flow area is calculated by compositing the above 3 flow areas with the weighted value. And under the step 2, the available land extent is calculated by reducing the undevelopable land. The extent of developable land is given area except the undevelopable land like roads, environment sensitive areas, and other undevelopable lands. Simply, it is the total developable land area equals to the total land area of the zone and reduce total undevelopable land area. Okay. Then by calculating those flow areas, we can compute the zone factor. Then we can say that simply what zone factor is the expected flow area per unit of developable land. Then this is the range of the zone factor. As per our studies, our exercises, the zone factor is vary from 0.5 to 4.0. In CMC area, it is vary from 1.75 to 3.75 as per our studies. And then let's see how we prepare the zone plan for a 2022 development plan. And this is a zone plan which was prepared in the 1981, and you can clearly say that the whole CMC area had been divided into 3 main areas. First one is the southern side of the CMC is marked as the primary residential area, and northern part is a mixed residential zone, and the third one is the commercial development around the PETA area. Then the second one is the City of Colombo Development Plan 1999, and you can see that it is very comprehensive rather than 1985 zoning plan. And here the CMC area had been divided into 6 main areas. Northern part for port-related activities and concentrated around the PETA area, and commercial cluster around the Borella area, and the special primary residential area in the Colombo 7 area, and the mixed development around Gold Road, and primary residential around the Kirulapana area. Next, again in 2008, the CCDP 2008 was gazetted as an amendment to the 1999 regulation. The zoning change is the main amendment for the basic the principal development plan. And you can see that it is also more similar to the 1999 zoning map, but there are few differences in the port-related activity zone. There is a area, the newly seafront zone had been introduced there, and no changes within the concentrated development zone, and commercial also demarcated around the Boralla area, and the special prime residential in Colombo 7 area, and mixed development at the side of the Gold Road. And here they have newly proposed with the Marine Drive Road, the seafront development zone facing the Marine Drive Road, and primary residential around the Kirulapana area. And in this time, they have introduced two development guideline areas. One is the development guideline area around the Independence Square, and a separate set of regulation also included within the development plan. And also they have marked identified the Bear Lake intervention area as the development guide plan. These are the main issues. And after that, during the 2012 to 18, there are few changes has been gazetted by the UDA for same zoning map published in the 2008. And we can see main changes that the mixed residential cluster around the Ceylon junctions was converted into the mixed development zone. And the part of the SPR set zone around the nearby Colonel P.T. Javardhan was converted to the mixed development zone. And the area around the Leas Road also converted into the mixed development zone. And very recently, the western side of the Havelock Road and the Vijay and at the Kumarthum Thurston Road, previously it is belongs to the SPR set zone, but it also converted to the mixed development zone based on the development pressure coming through the gold side direction. Considering those all these changes and the previous zoning items, we prepared a zoning plan for a 2020 development plan, and this is the newly proposed one. And at the first look in here also you can
I think we noticed that Mr. Sumit Samaratunga already sent a message saying there is a power cut. I don't know whether Yasant also has this problem.
Development according to the zoning plan in the 1999 and the 2008, so that we can't avoid the previous zoning pattern, so that we have proposed this one, but there are few changes I will explain. In the as previously here we have identified, we have shown the coordinated activity zone, but it is named as the concentrated logistic development zone. And the other main thing is, if you are take visit from southern side to northern side of the CMC area, you can realize that most of the high-rise developments are taken place in the southern side of the Colombo area. But when you are moving to the northern part of the city, you can realize there are no more high-rise development can be seen. All are low-rise development. Because of that, but previous zoning zoning plans are not restricted the high-rise developments in the northern part of the area, but unfortunately there were no high-rise developments were taken place. But this time we identified that constraints, and we try to introduce some transition zones from the Boralla to northern part of the area to convert to direct the high-rise developments into the northern part of the area. Accordingly, we have identified new mixed development zone 2, which is light colored in the light green area as a new area, and third one is concentrated development area, which is similar to previous one, but density has been increased now. And also and the second important thing is when we look at the development activities in the whole CMC area, we can say that the whole CMC area has been developed as the mixed development area, and we can't take one patch as the commercial development, because everywhere we can see the commercial development with the mixed characters. Okay, so that we realize that it is necessary to maintain as a separate zone as a purely commercial zone, so that we cannot take this commercial zone into the promoted mixed development zone. And next one is the 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 area marked as the light brown behind the commercial one. This one also previously marked as the commercial zone, but even they don't have infrastructure for a commercial developments, because they don't have enough access for a non-residential development. So that we have identified that constraints, and also if you are consider the existing development patterns, existing land use, those areas have been development as the purely residential area, so that we have decided to convert it as the residential area from the commercial development. Then the center of the area is still maintained as the special primary residential area. There are a few changes in terms of the regulation. Later I will explain what are those changes. And either side of the Gold Road has been shown as the mixed development and seafront zone and residential areas around the Timbirigasya and the Kirula areas, and residential promoted mixed developments around Narayanpeta area and the Hilo Road area. Okay, these are the main changes, and this time we have identified more development guideline areas, and Mr. Lalit said that what are those areas, and all those areas also have been marked in this zoning plan. You can see that with the hash colors. Okay. Then these are the zone factors of the proposed zones and also the subzones. Here we have, in this time, it is also new proposal. In this time we have subdivided each zones into the subzones based on the development intensity in the zone factor. For example, in the concentrated mixed development zone, for example, I have taken mixed development zone 1 here. This is the mixed development zone 1 has been subdivided into 3 subzones from high dense to low dense. It is the zone factor will vary from 2.0 to 3.25. The area, the part of the area, part of the SPRZ area previously converted into the mixed development zone marked as the low dense area, because that still we are maintaining the minimum subdivision of 20 perch and low density, low rise developments within that zone, so that we mark it as the low dense area. Likewise, we have introduced subzones for each and every zone except the seafront mixed development zone and the special primary residential development zone. Then these are the main category of the proposed zoning. There are 10 zonings, including the public open spaces. And if I move to the zoning regulations, before the zoning regulation, I'd like to say this is the applicable regulation for the CCDP 2022 is comprised with the 4 main sectors. That is the first one is the general regulations. This is the first time that CMC area is practicing the general regulations, because in previous 3-4 attempts, the different set of regulations which related to the Colombo Municipal Council area is gazetted in the same development plan. But in this time, the zoning plan and the other common regulation are gazetted by this CCDP development plan, but other balance For the balance regulations, you should refer to the General Regulation 2021, recently published by the UDA. Let's move to then balance part of in the CCDB 2022, we discuss about the zoning regulations and common regulations which directly relevant to the CMC area, and also the special regulations such as the GDP areas. And this is the zoning regulation. This is the concentrated mixed development zone. The information you should take from the zoning regulations is that what is the applicable regulation forms. In later I will explain what are the set of forms for the to determine the permissible FAR. Here is the place that you should get informations in which are the forms regulations which applicable for a particular land in the particular zone. Okay, then here you will get you can get information about the zone and the subzone and the zone factor, and also the permissible uses, as Mr. Lalit said. Okay, likewise this is mixed development zone 1. Here under the zoning regulation, I will, due to the time constraint, I will explain the more important things under the zoning plan, because I have to present more important things at the end of the presentation. Okay, here this is a mixed development zone 1. Here important thing is that the all the area is for a subdivision, for a subzones, we have introduced zone factor to develop the high-rise development. But for the in the low dense mixed development zone, which is converted from the SPR set into the mixed development zone, we have introduced low density zone. And also if you are take a high-rise development, you should have a minimum of 40% land to go for a zone factor based development. Otherwise your development will be restricted to maximum of 7 floors, and later I will explain what is the developments. Okay, and this is the Srifan mixed development zone. Here, as a 2008 regulation, here the plot coverage of the development has been restricted to the 50%, and here the zone factor is 2.5. And the concentrated logistic development zone and promoted mixed development zone, your zone factor will vary from 2.75 to 3.50. It is zone around the Borella Junction area. And proposed mixed development zone 2, it is the transitional zone between the commercial zone and the port related activity zones. And it is vary from 2.5 to 3.0 zone factor. And this is a residential prominent mixed developments will be allowed here. And this is the residential development zones in the marked as a light brown color. And special primary residentials here, residential zone here, the zone factor is not applicable for this zones for a land less than the 100 perch. Okay, there are different set of regulation for to guide the number of floors up to the land for the land having the up to the extent of 100 perch. If there is a land more than having 100 perch, then they can practice the zone factor based regulation in relation to the zone factor of 1.75. Okay. Then this is the regulation for public and open space zones. The maximum the 4 floors are allowed subject to not exceed the 12 meter in height, and percentage plot coverage, maximum plot coverage is 10%, and these are the permissible uses that can be allowed within the public open spaces. Then this is the visual corridor. This is the new regulation for new important regulation in the CCDP 2022. We have decided to protect the visuality of the Lotus Tower through the 4 visual corridors. The first one is the from the visual corridor from the Paliagoda Junction. As I think most of our members may experience this visual corridor. It is currently it is maintained nicely, And the second one is the view from the Borella junctions, and the third one is view from the gas junctions, and the fourth one is the from the Gold Face Hotel junction. And let's see how to decide permissible development, which is very important for our members to decide to gain knowledge to how to decide the permissible development, because it is a bit vary from the previous exercise, previous development plan. Here we have to deal with the 5 set of regulation forms, which are basically the A, B, and E forms are gazetted in the 2021 general regulations, and same forms are extracted here for our development plans. And apart that, there are different 2 forms, the form F and G, which is only applicable for the CMC area. The form A is the form A represent the FAR for the respective zone factor, and for form B represent the number of floors for a 3 meter and 4.5 meter wide road in respective zone factor. And form E is the it is a common form. It is the it gives you the detail about the what are the building heights and what are the setbacks for each building heights, and what are the open spaces around the building, and the plot coverage details. And form F represent the permissible number of floors for the low dense mixed development zone 1. Earlier I said that the part of the area which was converted from the SPR set to mixed development zone is governed by the different set of regulations. This is the regulation. It is the form F. Later I will discuss further. And form G is the will represent the permissible number of floors for the SPR set development zone, as I earlier said. And this is the form A. But look, in at first time you may confuse that it is very confused rather the previous one, but I guarantee it is not I can say that it is a very easy one, because it is just a XY reading. I will explain how to read it, and for your information, it is the form A. It consists with the land, the flow area. I mean, the permissible flow area is determined based on the 3 factors here. One is land extent, and it is subdivided. It is the land extent is subdivided into 12 categories, and the second one is the access road width. It is categorized here from 6 to 15 meter, and the third one is the important one is the zone factor. It is vary from 0.5 to 4.0. Okay, but if you take a real example in the CMC area, you can have a zone factor only from 1.75 to 3.75. That's the limitation of that's a zone factor range of the CMC area. Okay, let's see how we decide how we pick the permissible FAR for a particular land. And each individual cell represent the permissible FAR. Okay, in here there are more than 600 cells here, but when you are taking information about the zone factor of your site is located, you can select the relevant zone, the relevant area, relevant column related to the zone factor. If I take my land is between the 1.5 to 1.75, then I can simply select this grid. Okay, now your FAR is reduced to FAR range is reduced to 48 cells. Okay, and you can get the initial idea that your FAR will be vary from 2.4 to 8.0. Now you can, if you know the land extent of your property, your land, then you can check with the correspondent column rows, and you can find, if I take my land is within the 1500 to 2000, then simply I can check cross the correspondent row and check what is the potential FARs. Then now your FAR, permissible FAR is confined to 4 levels, it is vary from the 3.4 to 6.7. Now, if you know the probably you should know the access road width, and this is the my access road. It is 9 meter. Now you can check with the 9 meter column in the particular zone factor grid, and you can find the what is the permissible FAR. Simply, this is the 4.0 is the my permissible FAR. Okay. Likewise, you can just check in the XY coordinates. You can select the what is your permissible FAR. Then form B, the form A is the form A governs the development which has the access from the 6 meter to 15 meter above. But there are apart that there are two different set of roads, that is the 3 meter wide road and 4.5 meter wide road. For these roads, we have introduced number floors instead of the FARs because those are very narrow road comparatively to the other roads, so that we have decided to impose number floors. Here you can say that for a 3 meter roads, and also it is vary from the permissible number floors, also vary from the zone factor to zone factor. Okay, if your site has a 3 meter access road, and you have to check whether where your site is located and what is the zone factor of the particular zone. If you are belongs to the zone which having a zone factor of 1.25 to 3.49, then you can have 3 floors including parking facilities. I mean, then parking facilities also included in this 3 floors. Okay. As well as if you have a 15 feet road in 4.5 meter road, you can have a number of floors 1 to 4 floors from the zone factor of 0.5 to 4.0. Then this is the form B, and next this is the form E. This is this is the form that you have to obtain information about the what is the permissible height in meters, and what are the plot coverage, what is the permissible plot coverage, and what is the rear space that you should have to keep, you should have to maintain, and what are the side spaces. Okay, if I take an example of my site frontage of my particular land is 20 meter, and I have a minimum of 20 meter, then I can build the middle rise development up to the 15 meter. In this time we have introduced we govern the setbacks based on the building height in meters, not the number of floors, and that is the one of flexibility of our regulation, because it is very easy because some of the developers want to maintain the double heights with their developments to add in some urban design characters to their developments. But if we are taking the number of floors, then there is a misgap between the setbacks maintained to be for the particular development. That's why we this time we thought to govern those setbacks in terms of the height of the building in meters. Okay. Then this is the form F, which is represent the permissible number of floors for the low dense mixed development zone. These are the 2 zones that I already explained, that part of the part of the square set zone which converted to the mixed development zone. Still we are try to maintain the some character of the SPR set zone. That's why we try to limit the developments for lands less than the 40 perch. If you have a land within the 6 perch to 12 perch, you will allow to have 5 floors including parking floors up to maximum of 18 meter. If you have a 12 to 20 perch, you can have 6 floors under 21 meter, and if you have 20 to 40 perch land, you can have a 7 meter subject to maximum of 25 meter. And this is and there is previously there is the same land extent allowed to have a mezzanine floor also additionally, but this time we have decided to allow complete floor instead of the mezzanine floor, because with the mezzanine floor already they have reached the building height in meters. It is unnecessary to maintain balance, I mean free part of the mezzanine floor as the free, so that we have decided, our team has decided to allow complete flow instead of the mezzanine floor. And this is the form G. It is represent the permissible number of floors for a SPR set zone. And this is the zone. And as I said, here also the number of floors for a lands less than the 100 perch is limited. For 6 to 12 it is 5 floors, and 12 to 20 perch land it is the 6 floors, and 20 to 100 perch land it is 7 floors. And also if you have a land having more than 100 perch land, then you can build high-rise development based on the zone factor base form A and form A. And anyway, the maximum plot coverage is 50%. Then I will explain. Then I will explain as I suggested by the moderator. I will explain the comprehensive example for your easy reference. And here I have select one example, and it is located in Gold Road, and Gold Road, and it has a two access from Gold Road and the Elfindle Avenue. And this is my example. And when you have land block, and you have to decide what is the zone and what is the zone factor, and where it is located. Okay. Then as a first step, I will explain how we gain the information about the zone and zone factors. Then I will explain under the first step, and then the more details that the land extent within the history line is 1.8 perch, and the land extent without history line is 16 perch. Then total land extent of this particular land is 17.8 perch. Okay. The access road is Gold Road. It is a 20-meter wide road. You have to memorize this information when you compute the permissible development, and the site frontage also 16 meter. Okay. Then under first step 1, you have to decide, you have to find what is the finding the zone and the zone factor. Here you have to you have to find where your site is located. My site is located somewhere here, and when we check with the zone, it is a mixed development zone, and zone factor is and there's a subzone. My subzone is the high dense mixed development zone, and zone factor is the 3.25. Okay. And apart that, you have to check additional two informations, whether your site is affected by whether your site is affected by the visual corridor, or whether it is located in the GDP area. As I earlier said, if your site is located within the Lotus Tower visual corridor, definitely you should have obtained the PPC from the UDA, and there are restriction in the height in meters. And if your site is located in the GDP area, here again you have to take the PPC from the UDA to gain information about what is the permissible development with the development heights. Okay. Then fortunately this site is not affected any of these areas. Then step 2 is finding the zoning regulation. As I earlier said, this is the form that you have to get information which are the set of forms that would be applicable for your site. Okay, then this is the zoning regulation of the mixed development zone 1. I check the principal zone is mixed development zone 1. My subzone is high dense mixed development zone, and my zone factor is 3.25. Okay, then the permissible development, the maximum development should be calculated based on the form A or B as per this reference. Okay, and plot coverage and other setbacks details should be applicable in relation to the form B and the form E. Okay, and you can check what is the permissible development, I mean permissible uses that are that allowable here. Okay, then then here I got the information that sound factor is 3.25 and my form is form A or B, and you can memorize that. You can remember that the form A is to represent the zone factor for a roads from the 6 meter to 15 meter, and form B is for a 3 meter represent the permissible development for the 3 meter road and the 4.5 meter road. But here even the zoning regulation said that form A or B, I have to select for form A because I know that the access road of the width of the access road of gold road access road the gold road is 20 meter. Then I have to select form A for to select the permissible FAR. Okay, now I have select the form A. This is the form A. Now I know that the zone factor is 3.25. Now I can check with the zone grid, particular zone grid. This is the 3.25 to, it is 3.25 to 3.49. Okay, then I know the land extent, it is a 450. Then it is coming under the third row, 375 to 500. Then I can check my permissible FAR within the 3 point. So far I can check my permissible FAR is a 3.6 to 6.0. Now we can cross with the access road width. It is 20 meter. You know, gold road width is 20 meter. Now I check with the 20 meter column. Now I can pick the 6.0 is the my permissible FAR. Now you are then 25% of the your process has been completed now, because you know now what is the permissible FAR for your particular land block. Okay, then under the fourth step I have to find what is my permissible height and the plot coverage and the setback details. This is very important when you are checking the feasibility of the development. You have to definitely check what is the FAR and what is the setbacks, because you should know the whether your expected development can be taken place into the particular land block. Okay, that's why the thinking of the setbacks previous to the development is important. Okay, now here you can memorize that your site frontage is around 16 meter here. Then I can select the what is the corresponding site frontage for my development. It is my minimum one is 16 meter. Then I can't go for the 20 meter one, and then I should stop at the 12 meter column rows. Okay, this is a 12 meter. Now you can find out what is the your correspondent allowable height. It is the I can have a intermediate rise development maximum up to the 30 meter height. Okay, then you can check what is the other side. With the left hand side you can check what is the permissible height. Then after right hand side you can check what is the permissible plot coverage and the setbacks. If I decided to go in for a residential developments, it is the 65%. Even for a non-residential it is a 65%. And I can check what is the my rear space. If I the rear space and the side space, there are two columns under the each category. The first one says that what is the rear space when you are not taking when you are not taking the natural light and ventilation from this side. Okay, and second column is under the rear space. It is the size rear space that should be maintained if you are taking natural light and ventilation from the rear side. Okay, anyway, this is my rear space is a 4 meter, and similar as the rear space I can check what is the my side space. If I not take in natural light ventilation, the 1 meter side space from the one side and the 3 meter side space from other side is enough for my development. Okay, now I know what is the setbacks of the my proposed development, and I can now under the step 5 I can check what is the permissible number flows for my site. Okay, and there is a calculation. The permissible number flows can be computed by
Shasante, Planner Yasanta, any interruption? Hello.
visible plot coverage. Sorry.
Is there any interruption for you?
I guess no. Is
Okay,
it okay?
go
okay.
ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay. And this is the, as you remember, this is here I will explain how to calculate the permissible number flows. The permissible flow area for my particular land is taken as the 6.0. You can remember that it is calculated, it is found under the step 2. And the permissible plot coverage also 65%. And by FAR, by dividing the permissible plot coverage, you can approximately you can find your number flows is 9. Okay, then you can have a roughly idea about the what is your zone is so FAR is a 6, and what are the your setback is from the form E, and what is the permissible number flows. Then then process is complete. Now I know what is the permissible development for my site. And for your information here, I will explain what is the difference between the 2008 regulation and the 2022 regulation. This is the last slide of my presentation. Okay, it is when I consider the 2008 regulation, the particular land is in both sites, the particular land is belongs to the mixed development zone, and permissible FAR is 4.50, plot cover is 65, and you can have as per the 2008 regulation, you can have developments with the 2 parking floors and the 7 usable floors, and rear space also 4 meter, and side space is a 3 meter, one side, only one side. Other side you can build as the blind one. Okay, if you consider the 2022 permissible development, it is also coming under the mixed development zone, and here you can have additional information that sound factor is 3.25, and this is very important that you can have development with the FAR of 1 to 6. Previously it is 4.50, now it is the 6, and the plot coverage also 65%, and since you have a more FAR flow area ratio, you can here build up to 9 usable floors with the parking floors, and rear space also 4 meter. And here you should have a maintain, this is also important because you should have a maintain either side space 1 from 1 meter and the 3 meter from the other side, because in this new regulations we have decided to increase some size space for over high-rise developments. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Planner Yasanta. Actually, I about to ask the information about the Lotus Tower and everything. Very nicely you explain it. Thank you so much. And within the given period. And now you also have some other questions. Then first I'll raise some questions from Mr. Planner Lalit. Then sometime the part of the question also will go to you. Therefore, and to raise the awareness of the planners, and I would try to compile some of the questions. Thank you very much. I can see in the chat box already I collected some questions. Within the given time, I try my best to submit all the questions to the 2 speakers. Thank you once again. And very, very informative. And you gave the very good overview, as well as the analysis. And the Planner Yasanta, Thank you so much, giving us some case studies and giving some kind of example. And maybe when I raise some questions, I think I will give a chance for you to explain some other gray areas. Thank you very much. Mr. the Planner Lalit, because when you present your all kind of the future plan, and very clearly you mentioned that your vision and the objective as well as the strategies. When I get your first goal, second goal, and the third goal, you have a very, very ambitious strategies. And the first goal, and you mentioned that as an objective, to open up 80% of the waterfront area. Then the second strategy, and you mentioned that, and within the 5 meters to provide the open spaces, yeah, under the POS plan, is really, really good. Why? Because we are getting the adverse impact of the climate change. Now we are in the era of integrating green city development into our cities. And we have to align all kind of our development with sustainable development goals. And already we are the nation, and we already signed the COP21, yeah, in the Paris Agreement. And we very clearly, you already identified these things, as well as you formulate good vision, strategies, and the action. My questions for you, because as we all are well aware, Colombo City has the private land ownership. And though we have the government land, they are railway reservation and belongs to the irrigation department. These are always reservation, but developable land is very, very less. Only other things our target, because Colombo City, you identified as a commercial city. Then the commercial city, each and every inch has a very, very big value. And the land value is very high. With this context, what is the mechanism? What type of tool you are going to use to provide these open spaces and open up 80% of the area and increasing greenery within the city? Is it clear for you? Your mic is, I think, unmute. Can you hear me? Yes. Yes, Planner Lalit. I don't know whether the questions is clear for you.
Second, please.
Thank you. Over to you.
I got the question. Actually, all this land belongs to the private sector. Some percentage owns to private sector. Some percentage owns to government sector. Especially railway department and port authority owns many of these lands. Other lands are marginal lands. For those things, shall we go by one? For marginal lands, we already have started rehousing project for that people who are living in marginal lands and close by the marshy lands. UDA has a separate housing division. They have a research division. Under these researchers, they will find these land and they are rehousing. The second part is railway departments and port authority lands. Those are the very much difficult to discuss with them. Previously, we have made several round of discussion to get all these land for the urban development. Think about especially around the Berry Lake. If somebody go around this road, you can't feel there is a lake. because of so many buildings construction around the lake. Recently, there is a very successful meeting with them. We are not going to acquire all these land. Normally, where people will think every time UDA taking our land without giving any compensation or whatever thing. Now we have started that getting the benefits to railway department or port authority. That's why we have gazetted that Bear Lake guide plan. From that plan, we are going to open around these areas and use this land for the urban development. And especially another thing is the and canal banks and the Kalini River Bank development. It will be a massive two projects. Now we have prepared some plans and we have made many discussions to remove the people who are living in these canal banks and Kalini River Bank. It will be very much cost. It will take so much time, but we have started to do it. Throughout these programs, we think we can remove these people with good decision and open up this 80% of these covering lands. With that program, naturally, automatically that land releasing to us. That's why we have told 1,200 hectares we will be released within next 10 years. That's answer.
Within next 10 years.
Yeah.
In other words, you are telling us, and we are not going to depend on the treasury money. And we find some kind of new tactics and the tools. Yeah. And your tool would be and to work with the private sector. Maybe you can sign the MOU with the people and you can have the PPP program. I don't know, because the query is, if you have any kind of tactics, otherwise, because we know the situation today and our time horizon is 10 years. Yeah, within 10 years, how we are going to achieve this ambitious plan? Because I'm really, really happy to see the comprehensive overview and the analysis and the strategies. And my concern is how we are going to implement. And then my second question is, now how we are going to find some kind of financial resources. You already mentioned that we are going to relocate, or we are going to maybe the on-site relocation or the off-site, whatever your tactics, then you are going to relocate them. You need some money. And at the same time, and our horizon, the time period is nearly 10 years. And today, we are in a very, very critical situation. Therefore, I want to know about what are the implementation strategies, first one, and how we are going to have this type of relocation, whether you have some idea, whether you are going to do this one with the private sector or the community. There are so many things. Can I get some kind of idea from you as a team leader? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, even today, the UDA is not depending the treasury money. This is a self-funding institution. We have so much experience to do works without depending on the treasury. That's why we have a different kind of mechanism. Think about the housing. There is a marginal land, but these lands are commercially very high value. These high value lands belongs to some low income settlers. If we release this land from them and we are giving high rise housing solution for those people, think about 500 families, and we are getting about 2-3 acres land, then we can release this land to the market. not only for the local, even the foreign parties can come for this one. We have a special mechanism. We can give directly to them also, and sometimes we will tendering these lands. UDA Act is very powerful to do these businesses or real estate businesses.
Yeah.
Recently we have established a real estate division, which was not previously available. Through this one, we already have sold some land, and there are 48 lands on the way to for investors. But I am not talking about the current situation in 2022. This financial crisis came suddenly. Within today, sometimes investors will not come, but I think within next 6 months, it will be okay for the investments.
Very, thank you very much for your optimistic approach. And now that means we have some kind of mechanism and the tools to get the money from using the private sector and using the different type of sources. And then my second question is, and now everybody talk about, you also mentioned that, and the transport issues and the traffic and everything. I can well remember, and the Colombo Municipal Council, they introduced the sanction street line, and they apply different type of mechanism to get through the land. Yeah. And whether still you are going to continue the same thing, or whether you have some other mechanism to instead of that process.
Actually, we are following the same rules and regulations. We have listed about 200 roads with sanctioned building lines. That list is there. We will open up some roads. This is the 20 roads we are going to be widened within this period, and we have identified 4 roads to be constructed. These roads are very effective for the mobility of the population. That's a positive part for that one. If widen the road, it will be good for the house owners also. The land value will be raised because of the road widening. If road width is more, the landowner can get more high rise for construction, as Mr. Yasanta presented.
Yeah, while just I'm raising some question, at the same time I'll get some kind of questions from the chat box, and there is a questions from the audience. Does the Colombo development plan included the port city under as a planning boundary? Because we don't want to get the more detail about the port city, and be focused and just see whether you consider port city is also within your planning boundary.
Yeah, the port city is not included into our plan. We have just showed in that area is there, but that not coming under the UDA. The previously when we started that project, it was declared under the UDA law. Before, maybe 1 or 2 years before, there is a special commission established under the finance ministry. All the planning and all the powers goes to there, and we are not dealing anymore with port city.
And the Plan Vichiratna, we can remember, and throughout we have the time to time different type of solid waste disposal system and the solution, and we try our best to do this thing. But under this plan, and this is questions also raised by the one of the participants, and what type of mechanism, what type of tool you are going to introduce from this plan to have the comprehensive garbage disposal system for the city of Colombo?
Yes. Actually, that's a big problem for the CMC area. Within last period, we have, with the collaboration with the UDA, the Ministry of Megapolis found 2 sites outside of the Colombo. The Karadian is one site. This is a massive area. Even the Colombo Municipal Council also ready to. Actually, yes, that's a big problem for the CMC area. Within last period, we have, with the collaboration with the UDA, the Ministry of Megapolis found 2 sites outside of the Colombo.
There is a disturbance. Please unmute other. Hello? Yeah, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, this the Karadiana site was found. But the problem is the transportation. The daily at least more than 50 trucks have to be transported to there. The problem is within that kilometers, nobody likes that the garbage going every day going here and there. That's why there's a solution to construct a railway line for transfer these solid waste. But these proposals are going underway. That
Then
actually
already
the proposal is not completely prepared.
yeah, that means already you are just having a discussion with the relevant agencies and the
Yes.
authorities.
Yes.
This one, Yasanta, or you can answer this question. And this is came from the participant. And the mode for the transportation is most important. Do you identify the issues to develop and what are the ways to develop in future, and especially regarding the zone factor? Because we already identified, you mentioned that, and the light rail system and opening up byways and the open up new roads, so many proposals. But apart from that, how we are going to take zoning factor for this one? Is there any mechanism?
I will reply first part of this one, and second part will reply by Yasanta. Actually, we have proposed 4 light railway lines, the railway electrifications, some bicycle lanes, some water transportations, and widening these roads and many things. Think about if we construct one light railway, think about the purple line from Peta to Kaduela. There are 16 stations in between there, maybe 6 stations within the CMC area. Everywhere in the world, we have seen if there are light rail station comes, the surrounding areas, land values will goes up very high. And so many developments coming through these areas. Then we already have think about that one. The zoning, it directly affect to the zoning factor. The Yasanta will speak how we think if station will come that area, how can our zoning factor will calculate.
Thank you.
Yasanta.
Yes, Pranaya Santa.
Yeah, the enforce. Yeah.
Question is clear.
Yeah, okay. The introducing a zone factor is, I can say that introducing a new zone factor is not directly solve the issues within the traffic jam situations. But when we are introducing the new developments, when connection roads with the particular level of service the width of the particular road, the width of the particular road is directly relevant to the deciding the permissible flow area of the particular development.
Yeah.
Okay, when we think to allow more developments around the particular proposed road, so that we better to have more better to have better to propose a new road with the sufficient space for a sufficient service level.
That is the way you are thinking to develop this one. Yeah. Other one is is there any mechanism to improve the public transport, and because we all are planners and we know today, and the Colombo is considered because the high pollution, air pollution. Yeah. And each and every public vehicle, when we enter the city and we release the emission. But at the same time, we are talking about to address climate change impacts and to have the clean air. How you are going to look at this one? Is there any mechanism to improve the public transport? Because light rail system, hope now I can see some kind of green light to have the light rail system again.
Yeah, actually today, 94% using private vehicles, only 6% using public transport. The first of all, nowadays we are discussing to improve the public transport, improve the private public transport system, the quality of transport. Think about the buses running through these roads are very poor quality Indian buses. Several discussion has made the quality type of bus transports starts, and some amount of that private car users convert into the public use. The another one is the light rail. Among these 4 lines, we have expected about at least 500,000 people can take into the light railway. Then it can be reduced a large number of private vehicles into the city. Then the carbon emissions will be reduced and the pollution will be reduced. Even that the light railway not issuing any bad emissions, they are because of they are electrified. The next one is electrify the railway road from Colombo to Kaduela. The railway department already have identified and they have work on it, the electrified, and the emission will be very low. And nowadays we are working for introducing and promoting bicycle lanes for non-recreations. It will be a good impact. And water transportation, we already started from Diato to Samya, and within next 2-3 years we will increase, and at least 1% of people will use that one.
Thank you very much for your explanation. Yeah, that means already you start integrating the cycle lane into the new roads. And I noticed that I was informed that, and the Ministry of Transport and Ministry of Environment, and they are going to introduce the Greening Cities program. Are they working with you, or because still we can see Vicharatna, you also have the different type of experience. Still we have the different type of silos, yeah. And while they are working in the different type of program, what type of the collaboration and the we are having with the other agencies. But other thing is, I want to know, I'll combine the other question also for you, because we are talking about the attracting investment to Sri Lanka. But still, I can see a lot of investors, when they come to Sri Lanka, they have to go to at least 12, 14, that type of agency to get the clearance. Is there any system to expedite it? Or whether you are going to working with hand in hand with other agencies to forming a one-stop, something like that? What is your idea?
Thank you very much for asking this question. Actually, the collaboration with all agencies is a big problem. We have seen after establish of NPPD, National Physical Planning Department, should have that responsibility for collaborating with 15 or 20 institutions should be together, should get a decision. But it has not happened. It was not work until today. Anyway, when we approving the plans, we have now identified there are 32 institutions will be joined with us. For one plan, at least 15 out of 32, they have to work with us. UDA in 2017 started automated the billing approval system, but it was very primary level one. Nowadays, we have going to start one-stop unit. We are going nowadays. We are doing some testing only, and we can wait early November of this year. That any investor come into the UDA on behalf of that applicant, we are getting all other agencies approval, but we are charging 3-4 times of money. The money is not the matter for the investor, time is the matter. I think it will be a good solution for bringing the investment and going that index up.
Yes, Sante, do you want to add something?
No, madam, that's it.
Okay. And the other one is in your plan. This is very, very ambitious plan. You have a lot of strategies to improve green volume and the green cover as well as the shade. You already have some kind of strategies to improve the green cover and the volume and everything within the Colombo city. And my problem is, the question is, yes, at the same time you are talking about the reduction of the heat effect, yeah? Then what is because in the primary zones and the other areas, of course, you have you increase the plot size and formulate the different type of tool. What about the north of Colombo? What type of strategies or the program or the project you have to reduce and this type of heat? Because you clearly mentioned that 7% in one area, and you have some kind of action to reduce that one in the other areas. How you are? What is the approach?
Yeah,
especially the northern part of the Colombo that's already developed, and this is industrial zone.
Yeah. When consider the overall Colombo CMC area, you're talking about the reducing the urban heat. Here we have introduced a different set of strategies and different proposals. As example, I will take one that the developments, because that the wind from the seaside is we use to dilute the urban heat within the CMC area, and also the water surface in the Bere Lake we use for to dilute the water heat in the CMC area. To protect those resources, I mean the resources we use. We use some strategy in the regulation that some of that are that in the seafront zones the maximum plot coverage is reduced up is limited up to 50%. to protect the wind direction from the seaside. And also the developments around the Bere Lake also. We have, when we are allowing the, when we preparing the development guide plans for the Bere Lake area in the surrounding area in the Bere Lake, here also we have identified some wind corridors, especially wind corridors, rather than just saying the wind directions. Here we have identified the wind corridors, and we have imposed some regulations to protect the wind direction from the seaside. Another thing is that you talk about that about the green space. The green space also we have used as the proposals to reduce the urban heat, because that there is a, in the general regulation there is a regulation said that we know that the permissible maximum plot coverage for a particular development will be maximum 65, and there should be a 35% open space, and from that the 50% of the open area should be maintained as the green space. I mean with the landscape to maximize the permeability of the and to reduce the runoff, and the to maximize the permeability to the underground. And also basically these are the strategies that we have followed. And especially it's a CMC area, that is basically that this regulation is proposed by the CMC officials, that they have proposed to introduce some plantations within the open space area, and there is some concession also for some allowances for developers if they are maintaining their open spaces with the higher canopy tree levels. They will have a grant, they will have a concession for their tax collection also, I mean property assessment tax also.
Planner Yasanta, would you like to just elaborate a little bit about the green certificate? I think it also will give us some kind of solution for you. Yeah? Would you like to explain a little bit for the awareness of our audience? Issuing the green certificate for the high-rise building and the hotels and that part.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Another important thing is that introducing the green building standards.
Yeah.
Because it's we have categorized it up to 4 levels, up to platinum level from the certificate levels. If you are maintaining green building standards, that you can minimize the you can save your energy levels, energy consumption levels, and that also might helpful to reduce the urban heat and other such things.
Thank you very much. And this one again, I would like to these questions to Planner Lalit, because we all are well aware, because when you are going to prepare a developer plan, is a very, very risky task. Then after that, and the preparation, implementation, enforcement, and implementation are the other next side. Without having because we have the legal framework, we have the very powerful act, and we have some kind of, now already you identify the financial framework, and for the implementation, I strongly believe we need the very, very strong institutional framework. Now already you delegate urban development authority, delegated your powers to local authority. I would like to hear from you how you, because according to your experience, how we are going to improve, or how we are going to work with the local authority to implement our one, because everybody knows UDA itself can't implement this plan alone, because you need key stakeholders. Local authority is the key stakeholder of this process. Then what type of collaboration, what type of mechanism you are going to think about taking the local authority into the development process? Your Hello? I think your mic is unmute, yeah?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Actually, that question not directly relevant to the CMC as well as its effect to the all local authorities in
Yes,
Sri Lanka
yes.
declared by UDA.
Yeah.
We are helping several ways. UDA directly giving technical support sometimes. We are our architects drawing whatever they want, the supermarkets or something bus stand, whatever plans we are doing all these things without charging a cost. The second one is we have a common account for some reasons. We are getting some levies. Time by time, we are allowing this money to use for to do some common work, especially for construction of parking spaces. The third one is we have a special power to get the local authority land for the development. Under section 15, we are getting local authority land for development. And that one, nowadays, the local authorities does not like under this section. Therefore, what we are doing, we are having some collaboration with them, and we are signing with them a mutual understanding, and we are going for the agreement. Example, the Colombo Municipal Council wants to develop the Kolpiti supermarket. They don't have enough technical capabilities, and they can't do direct investment with other parties. Only UDA can do investment with foreign or local other agencies. Therefore, temporarily we got that land under section 50, and nowadays we have prepared a plan, and we have make a nice proposal for that one. And the next stage is we are calling for tenders internationally. For the land value, the CMC will get their portion. The number of plots they will get, and rest of parts will get by the investor. The UDA doing only coordination part, and we are getting 1 or 2% from the total cost for covering our cost. That using that kind, we are always helping to the local authority.
Thank you very much for your explanation. And Planner Yasanta, I think you are the person who attended the Colombo CMC Planning Committee. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And when you are going to practice these zone factors as well as the new regulation, and what type of support you are having from the local authority? Because normally when you prepare a plan, as you we all are aware, because you have some kind of interim period. Yeah. Some people try to understand, some people, when they start absorb all kind of concern and the different type of things, it will take little bit time. And I would like to hear from you and what is your experience? Especially because you are working in our prime city, Colombo Municipal Council.
Yes. Yes, when compared to the planning, planning staff in the Colombo Municipal Council, they also have a very experienced set of officials, because basically the planning division is headed by the engineers and the planners, so that they have basic idea. Because during the preparing process, we have conduct a different set of workshops with the UDA peoples, UDA officials, the CMC UDA officials and the CMC officials. So that we had then they got the opportunity to aware about some regulations that will be coming the city of development plan prior to the gazette the development plan. Then they have initial idea, but after gazetting we have some discussion with regarding the implementation date of the such regulations, and what are the new regulations to be practices, and what are the areas that have to be changed when they are practice the previous regulation. And also and we had one discussion, and also in next week also we have arranged the actual CMC arranged a separate workshop to similar to today. They have arranged a workshop to share the knowledge with regarding the new regulations proposed under this CCTB 22. And also when we talks about the helpful, the help and kindness, help from the CMC. As a local authority, they are very supportive and each and every time, because they know that the regulation is preparing by the UDA, but it is implemented by the local authority people. Then definitely they are most of the usually there may be a contradiction between the regulation and the implementation. But fortunately, we have a very comprehensive set of regulation from 1999, because of, I got opportunity in the UDA to practice the regulation which prepared based on the 1990, and it is a very comprehensive set of regulations, so that we got opportunity, and the CMC officials also got opportunity to practice the UDA regulations with less confusions or less contradiction between the UDA and the CMC.
Thank you very much, Planner Yasanta, because today the aim of our session is to raise the awareness among the all kind of professionals. Because that is why I want to ask different type of question from you. Then our practitioners, and they can read. Just CMC, I know that their capability is strength, and then now we are happy to hear that there are so many planners in the municipal council. And just my concern is not only the CMC, because I got your experience to share about, to get some idea about the other local authorities. And now time is 12:02, and the organizers, can I just ask any question, another one questions? Satya?
Okay, ask one question.
Yeah, and we can after that wrap up. And this is actually after getting the all kind of question from the chat box, and because everybody knows UDA has prepared not only the Colombo development plan. There are so many development plans. Why don't you take and because this as an opportunity to tell others. And because I saw, I think one comment saying giving a high priority for Colombo, because yes, Colombo city is the prime city, but as a UDA agency, I know, because I was in the planning committee for a long time, therefore I know you already prepared so many development plans for the other local authorities. Why don't you give that message? Then after that, I can hand over the session to Satya.
Yes, actually, beginning from the after establishing the UDA, there are very few number of development plan has prepared. After 2017 to today, we could prepare a number of development plans. We already gazetted 46 development plans. Within this year, we are going to publish another 50 development plans. By 2025, we will complete all the development plan for the country. That's the answer. And there is one question I have seen. I should answer this one. Somebody asked why Borella prison has not relocated. Do we have any proposal to relocate the Borella prison? Yes, actually we have a plan. We have a multimodal plan in Borella. We have included that one also. We are releasing 48 acres for urban development, and we have already given 300 acres in Millavatta, the Horane area, for the completely the international level prison going to be relocated at that area with all the quarters and some judges' residences and courts and everything will be there.
Yeah, I can see some questions not related to development plan, and you can't solve the each and every issue preparing a development plan for Colombo. And there are so many development plans already you gazetted. And I know National Physical Planning Department, they are also preparing the regional plan. Therefore, each and every integrity you can't expect from the development plan. Thank you so much, Planner Lalit Wijeratne and Planner Yasantha. Your informative and the comprehensive explanation and the presentation. But if I just summarize today and give an opportunity for everybody to clear their gray areas. Only other thing is, when I just read the all kind of question, everybody really concerned about the implementation. Though it is a very time-consuming, very hard task is the preparation of the development plan and formulation, the vision, strategies, and the action. And everybody has to get together to prepare some kind of new tools and to find some mechanism and the sources. That is the message we got it. Otherwise, starting from, as you clearly mentioned, from 1921 up to now, we have the different type of development plan. But fortunately or unfortunately, we had we got very less opportunity to improve implement some project. Still they are there. Yeah, if you get the 1921 and the Jeffrey Geddes and the Clifford Holidays one, they also talk about the marine drive development. Yeah, they also talk about the different type of drives and the Court Development Plan. They also develop the formulate some kind of strategies to have the 7 drives. Yeah. Yes, as you said, and we have the different type of constraint and the potential, so many things, but still we can see a green light. Thank you very much for your active participation. Thank you very much, and our participants and your active participation. You submit so many concerns, but within this time period, each and everyone, I can't give the same one. I compile some of the question. Hope I have done justice. Thank you very much. Satya, over to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Planner Induvidu Surya, for moderating today's session, and Planner Lalit Wijeratne and Planner Yasantha Pereira for contributing for an effective and insightful session. As we have reached the end of today's program, I would like to coordinately invite Planner Nadika Amarasinghe, Member of Public Relations Committee, to deliver the vote of thanks. Over to you, Planner Nadika.
Thank you, Satya. Thank you, Satya. Good afternoon to all present here today, honorable guest speakers, moderator, and all the participants. I feel honored to propose this vote of thanks on behalf of the ITPSL. I would like to express my gratitude to the guest speaker of the webinar for your presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. Planner, Mr. Lalit Wijeratne, Deputy Director General Planning, Urban Development Authority. Thank you, sir, for your informative and inspiring presentation. Again, the Planner Yasantha Pradeep, Assistant Director, Urban Development Authority. Thank you for your valuable contribution and wonderful explanation. A special thanks to Planner Induvidu Surya, past President of ITPSL, Vice President South and Southwest Asia, the Commonwealth Association of Planners, for providing so much value to our audience. As practitioners in the planning sector, immense knowledge of development plans, applications and contrast between existing and proposed regulation will be more important to do a better service to the country. Not only that, but residents of a particular development area also have a right to well aware about the development plan to which they belong. So we firmly believe that we were able to fulfill those objectives with this remarkable webinar on this inspiring Sunday. My deep sense of thanks and the appreciation goes to all the participants who are joining virtually with us and attend the webinar with great enthusiasm to make it a great success. Especially, we are able to see a number of professionals and practitioners with us today. Your desire to acquire knowledge in this field highly contributed to the success of today's session. Also, I taken this opportunity to express my deep regards to Madam President, Planner Devasriyani Jayasundara, for being a constant source of motivation and guiding force in our endeavor and making effort to achieve the objectives within the scope of ITPSL. I would further extend thanks to the Honorary Secretary and all the council members of ITPSL for your advice and guidance for the every new step forward. I must thank the organizing team and the technical crew behind this effort, especially Dr. Puli Pereira, Director, Center for Urban and Regional Planning, and her team of volunteering for working hard to make this webinar a successful one. Further, I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for the Chairman of the Public Relations Committee, Planner Mr. Leelananda, and convener of the committee, Planner Dayamasara Chandran, and other members has contributed to the success of this event. And thank you everyone once again for being with us today. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Thanks, Planner Radhika Amarasinghe. With that, we conclude the today's CPD event. One last note, we kindly remind you all to send us the feedback form of today's session. Okay, thank you very much for joining with us. Let's meet again at the next CPD. Have a nice day.